Johnny with TigerBomb MMA. Tonight I'm going to go over UFC 299, O'Malley versus Vera 2, giving you my thoughts and predictions on the whole card. It's going to be a really short video. I got shit to do. I've been doing drywall this entire week, so I need to finish that. So I haven't had a good amount of time to work on this video, so you're not going to get an intro. I like to have a fun intro each pay-per-view, but kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the card. Before I do that, I'm gonna give you some quick thoughts on the previous card, the Rosenstruik versus Gadziev. Starting off with Danielle Brooks. You were right. I fucking suck. Gadziev sucks. I'll talk about that later, but props on you for getting Rosenstruik. But the first fight of the night, I had a half unit bet on Loic Radzhabov. It went kind of the opposite of what I expected. I thought Loic was going to win round number 1 and 2. He lost round number 2. Then he knocked him out in round number 3. I was surprised that Al-Sawadi didn't get right back up after getting knocked out. He's usually pretty quick about it, but made some money there. Ludovic Klein defeats AJ Cunningham. I really wanted more from AJ, but what are you going to do, right? You got brought in on short notice. When he drops back down to 145, I think he's going to be a fun fighter to watch. Christian Leroy Duncan, to me, easiest prop. Honestly, easy money. I was thinking I should have taken 40 grand out of the bank and put it all on Christian. Ribeiro was just there to, like, I don't even know why he was there. He didn't even, he looked like shit. He was awful. Ayman Zahabi defeats Javid Basharat. To me, I have no quarrel with this. I actually ended up live betting Basharat, not much, but I'm sorry, not Basharat, but Zahabi. To me, it seemed like Basharat wanted to lose. Like the second round, he was diving in for takedowns consistently, and Ayman was kind of shooting for guillotine and stuffing him. I'm like, why is he fighting like he wants to lose? But I guess wish granted, he lost. Vinicius Oliveira defeats Sopai. Very good fight. I was, and I'll stand by this. I said Bernardo Sopai is UFC ready, and even if Vinicius Oliveira wins the fight, he is not UFC ready. I didn't think he looked all that great up until he got that vicious knockout. He's a fun fighter to watch. I'm not complaining about him winning. It's just, you beat a guy that can easily be a 125er. Bernardo looked really good until he really didn't. So good, fun fight. Eric Anders defeats Jamie Pickett. I was all up in arms saying, do not parlay Eric Anders. He ends up getting dropped in like the first round twice. At that point, the main reason is, what is his line going to be? Plus money? He got dropped twice. He ended up winning because Jamie Pickett is Jamie Pickett, but still it was like, Steve Erceg knocks out Matt Schnell. I kept saying it, man, like, not because it's Matt Schnell. I keep having trouble with that name, Matt Schnell. It's because Erceg's punches, as we saw, man, he's been training with Jack Della. That left hook that he landed was picture perfect. And Matt, man, a lot of embarrassment on him on the internet. Chris Tione's like making fun of him. Umar gets dropped by Alakan. Umar kind of proved that he's not ready for a title shot. Like Alakami should have finished him. He had a couple moments there where he could have at least attempted the submission, but he just kind of, I don't want to say he gave up, but he was more content not getting punched and just laying on top of him. Mokaev, he cashed out my parlay. It was what it was. It was not a great performance. He took a picture of his toilet there. Then he took another picture of more excrement later, which would have been the Gazia fight. Petrino, I should have listened to myself. I didn't bet the decision because the prop wasn't available by the time I went to the casino, but Petrino by decision was pretty easy. Pedro was just there for a paycheck to pay for his previous fights, taxes. Rosenstruik, man, the Gaziev thing, I had a parlay with Gaziev. He was the final leg, and it wasn't like I bet him a ton on him. It was just more disappointing that he didn't try. He took him down in the first round, and I'm like, okay, just do that again the second round, and you might get him out of there. He just stood there. He just looked at him. He was eating punches, didn't even try to punch back. I was like, dude, just do something. Props to Rosenstruik, but I still think Rosenstruik is still the easiest matchup in that division for, a guy that's willing to fight, unlike Gaziev. It's almost like Gaziev looked at the performance from his previous opponent in Budai and said, yo, that's a really good idea. Let me just get my ass beat, and maybe they'll call me the winner. Yeah, not a good night for Gaziev. I should have known. Like, I knew he was a fraud, but I'm like, yo, even this fraud can beat Rosenstruik. But I guess I was wrong about that. Let's get started with the actual card here at hand, the O'Malley versus Vera 2, taking place in Miami. What is the first fight of the night? 1 second here. Let me bring it up. It is the women's bout. We've got at flyweight Joanne Wood versus Marina Moroz. It's a rematch. So Marina Moroz submitted Joanne Wood back when she was Calder Wood. So maybe now that she dropped the Calder, she's going to have a better time here. But it is plus 165 for Joanne. Come back on Marina Moroz minus 200. Say what you want about Marina Moroz. I say it all the time. She's got the OnlyFans thing going for her. This is Joanne Wood's final hurrah. She can get a win here. She's got the skill set. I just don't think she has the mentality. I think she's hit that age. She's hit that spot in her career where she's like, you know what? I'll take what I can get. Legit though, it's like you have the skill in the gym, in the training room, and you feel like you can win, but like the younger woman here is going to win. Marina Moroz is not fighting anyone who's that uber dangerous. I think she's skilled everywhere compared to Joanne Wood. Maybe not in the terms of striking, but I think she's got enough to actually win a decision or find a submission along the way. Not like I care. I'm not betting this fight. We've got CJ Vergara plus 340 come back on Asu Almabaev. I'm not a big fan of Almabaev, but his style is perfect to beat a guy like CJ Vergara. CJ is a scrappy dude. He can throw hands, but as we saw with Almabaev in his last fight with Ode Osborne, he's just relentless. I don't think he should be a minus 440 here, but I do think he's going to win this one by a decision. I don't think he'll find a submission or a knockout along the way. I don't think he's that great at the subs. More so maybe with the ground and pound, but CJ's not really going to give up like that. So I'll go with Asu by a decision. Next bout. Now here's the most contested fight, right? Because Josh Parisian at heavyweight, he's taking on the newcomer, the Robles Despaigne, who is like a minus 420 heavyweight Olympic level Taekwondo specialist, giant man, 6'7", 87-inch reach. I'm going to pick him to win by knockout in the first round. He's just too much of a legitimate world win fighting a guy who is the bottom of the barrel currently in the UFC heavyweight division, but he's plus 310. The thing about Josh, though, and I understand why people are like, I might bet Josh at this price. What sucks about it is it's not the best price to bet Josh Parisian. Let him get his ass beat a bit before you bet him. Bet him live. For the love of God, if you're listening, don't waste your money on Josh. Wait until the second round if it hits. At that point, he's going to be like plus 900 or something because he's got a decent enough chin. He can take punches, right? It's just, he's not the best skilled guy. I don't think he's going to be able to get him down to the ground because that's his best shot. Get him down to the ground, lay on him, ground and pound him, get him tired. This guy's too athletic. He's going to throw something at him. Even when he gets hit, he recoils and hits you back. He's got a small sample size of fights 4-0 compared to the 15-7. Don't bet either guy. Like legit, take the inside the distance, the knockout first round at least. But fuck, man, Josh Parisian, I contemplated it myself, right? Like I contemplate a lot of things, but in this case, it ain't worth it. Don't bet Josh Parisian here. Come on, just wait until the second round. Take him live. Just take him live. But I'll go with Despaigne by first round knockout. There's not much to say. It's Josh Parisian. Next bout, we've got Felipe Lins versus Ian Cutelaba. This is a rebooked bout. I took Cutelaba the first time, and I'm going to take him again. I think he is a younger guy. Felipe Lins is more of the complete fighter in the sense that like he has gas. Like they're very similarly matched. They have good knockout power. I think Cutelaba is more aggressive. He hits harder. He's got the wrestling background. It's just that he gasses himself out, and he's just a mystery sometimes. Felipe Lins, ever since dropping down to 205, he's looked a lot better. He's on a 3-fight win streak, right? He can push the pace, maybe get Cutelaba tired, but he's going to have to deal with a lot of that power, a lot of that pressure early. I'm going to go with Cutelaba. I'm not interested in betting this fight. I think the odds were like minus 130 for Cutelaba, plus 115 for Lins. I'm not interested in this one at all. This entire card, not uber interested. I do have a parlay already with 3 folks, which I will talk to you actually right here. We've got Michel Pereira, aka Jumpin' Mikey P, versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk plus 115 and come back on Pereira minus 140. So this one's tough because it's a very fun, evenly matched bout. We've got Oleksiejczuk, great boxing, great body work, moves forward, almost indestructible like chin. But I'm hearing rumors recently, actually, like 20, 15 minutes ago that he's not actively training. Like he doesn't have an actual training camp, that he's just kind of sparring his buddies. And that's a bad sign. Even then, though, he's got the skill to beat a guy like Pereira. The only thing is, Pereira at 185, the dude was able to, and I'm not putting a whole ton of stock in this, but he was able to knock out a dude that was running the division pretty gnarly, which was Andre Petroski, just taking everybody down. His movement, his power, he's just a very athletic, unique character. And I think at 185, he's just going to be a lot stronger, a lot more hydrated. He's going to have better gas tank. It's just that he is very known to drop the ball. Now he's minus 140. He's not like minus 200. I actually parlayed him at around minus 140 with 3 other dudes. I do think he has enough skill. I think he can diversify the game here, because Michael is not going to look to take him down. Pereira, I think he hits a lot harder. He's just more of a single shot kind of guy. The issue is that if he takes punches to the body, he might slow down. It's just such a mystery, really, because Pereira, the way I expect him to look is the way I want him to look. The most complete version of Pereira, which is what I'm hoping for. And when that guy shows up, easy work of Mikhail. He'll take him down, he'll pound him out, get on top of him, get him tired. He'll kind of skirt around the cage. Mikhail's going to kind of continuously like trying to catch him and cut off the cage, which with his leaping punches, I think Pereira's just going to be a little too athletic for that kind of shit. I think the diversity of the kicks, the elbows, the flying stuff from Pereira, just more danger there. But you're still fighting a guy in Oleksiejczuk who will Terminator style your ass, walk you down, try to beat up your body, try to knock you out. He wings his punches beautifully. This is the most dangerous fight. I'm not uber convicted in Pereira. I'm just, taking a shot on him and see what happens. But I'm going to take Pereira to win this one. I actually think he'll win this one by decision. I think he'll just be too quick, just too powerful for Oleksiejczuk, who, he did fight up at 205. I just still think he can probably drop down to 170 if he was really, truly motivated. But let's move on. Pedro Munhoz versus Kyler Phillips. We got Phillips at minus 225, come back on Munhoz plus 185. I'm going with Phillips by decision, mostly because he's going to be too quick, too young, just too good for Pedro Munhoz. And what I mean is that when Kyler Phillips fights, he uses a lot of movement. He's very quick. He's going to be really hard for Pedro to catch. That's really all Phillips has to do, is just kind of stay on the outside, really not engage too much in the grappling, not too much in the pocket. And I think Kyler wins this one easily. Like, it's going to be the fight Kyler Phillips needs to fight to beat Pedro Munhoz and get over him. But if Kyler wants to make this like a very entertaining bout, if he wants to prove himself, then the odds get a lot closer, because Pedro has knockout power. Pedro can get him down, maybe create an issue there with the ground and pound, and possibly work submissions. Like, Kyler's a black belt. Kyler's really good off of his back, but a lot of that movement slows him down. So there's a good possibility here that you can probably live bet Pedro Munhoz, either by finishing the 3rd round or even by a decision, if it, say, becomes kind of like a cat and mouse kind of fight where Kyler's throwing kicks from the outside and Pedro's moving forward, winging punches, maybe lands a few. We don't know what these judges are going to really score. So I'm going to go with Phillips by a decision. Next bout, this is the second leg of my parlay. We've got Rafael dos Anjos, who is plus 280, come back on Mateus Gamrot, a.k.a. Matty Deadlegs. He is minus 355. Simply put, I think Rafael dos Anjos is the much better, more complete fighter, more dangerous fighter in this matchup. It doesn't matter. He's still going to lose. Mateus is going to decision him. I think Mateus has the ability to knock him out. I think Mateus has the ability to out-grapple him. Not maybe out-submission him. Like, there's not going to be a whole ton of like crazy scrambles. I just think that Mateus's style works really well to beat a guy like Dos Santos, who in the past, guys have been able to hold him down, out-wrestle him, and just kind of keep him down. Add in the factor that Mateus Gamrot has ridiculous submission game. Add in the factor that he is relentless with his takedowns. There's nothing to not like about Gamrot, right? I picked against him a few times. I picked against him against Beneil Dariush, but Beneil at that time, I thought he was just more scrappy. And Actually, that's the only real time I've picked against Benil or Mateus Gamrot. I picked him to win against Jalen Turner. He pulled that one out. I picked him to win against Fiziev, which you can say what you want about the like leg injury. I still think he would have won that fight because eventually that dude is not going to slow down. He is uber relentless. He can take a shot. Again, nothing not to like about Mateus Gamrot in this matchup. This to me is a very easy matchup for him to win. It's also a very easy matchup for him to lose if he gets a little too cocky, if he tries to keep it on the feet. But knowing my man Gamrot, he is going to shoot for takedowns. He's probably going to go for an ankle pick or some shit, and he will get Dos Anjos down. That's the most consistent thing about Dos Anjos is that if you truly want to get him to the ground and hold him there, you can definitely do it. And now he's fighting a guy who is the most relentless in that division at getting what he wants. God, if he was trying to rape him, he would rape him. I'll just say that. I have to bleep that out, but you know what I'm saying. Moving on, we've got Caitlin. It's Chookagian, right? Like, I'm never going to not call her Chook. Serminara versus Macy Barber. Macy minus 200, blonde fighter. Chookagian plus 165. This one is tough. I'm always on the Caitlin Chookagian decision line, right? That's probably something I'm going to bet. But Macy Barber is an anomaly because she is so beatable in my eyes. I don't think she's ever going to touch gold. But I also think that she has a very high chance to touch gold. It's such a weird. If I were to judge her based off of her skill set, just plain and simple, what does she do well? Well, she can grapple okay. She hits hard. Her striking's not great, but she has an X factor, which is she's absolutely relentless and she's an absolute dog. And I think with that specific X factor, it could take her to a title where, say, Valentina might get the title again, and say they're fighting Valentina and Macy Barber fight. Valentina's whipping her ass, and then say round number 4, Macy just says, I'm done playing, goes after her and knocks her out. That's the kind of situation I can see Macy Barber being in. Because of that, she's always a super dangerous girl, but she can get taken down. She can get controlled. She can get outpointed. And she's fighting a woman in Chookagian that is really made an entire career at doing so. She's the best in the division to me, probably top 3 at flyweight ever. She's never touched gold, of course, but she is the ultimate gatekeeper in this division, and she's really damn good at it. Like, she's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She can point fight like a motherfucker. It's really hard not to pick her, but she's getting up there in age, and just the physicality from Macy Barber is just, it could really play into this matchup. So I'm not uber convicted here. Like, I am teetering towards Barber, but not betting wise, but because I'm going to have to bet this, like an auto bet, Chookagian auto bet decision, I'm going to have to go with Caitlin Chookagian by decision. Not the most convicted at it. It's just, it's so crazy. They're both the best in the division at getting decisions, right? Macy Barber wins fights that she justifiably should not win, like the one against Miranda Maverick. And Caitlin is just the best at finding a way to convince the judges that she won. So it's such a tough one. I'm going to go with Chookagian still. Like, I think maybe even a split decision could be a possibility. To, like, the fight ends in a split decision, or fight ends in a decision, or Caitlin by decision. It's just decision for me. I don't think that Barber's going to knock out Caitlin. I don't think Caitlin's going to knock out Barber. For sure a decision here. Moving on, I hate this matchup, man. I really hate it because we've got a 3-round fight. Curtis Blaydes versus Jailton Almeida, the God King, at heavyweight. And they're near pick'em here. I think a lot of money's been coming in on Blaydes, where he's slightly the favorite, like maybe minus 130, minus 120. But, bro, if Blaydes had not fought against Pavlovich, I would have taken Blaydes in a heartbeat at dog money. It's just that, like, to me, Blaydes is kind of a perpetual moron sometimes. And I don't want to, shit on the guy. I've done it so much in the past, but he consistently finds ways to lose. This is the perfect matchup for him to steal the hype away from Almeida, Like, no doubt about it. I think he can knock him out. Almeida is a panic wrestler. It's just that his jujitsu is ridiculously good that he makes it look easy. And like props to the man because the dude moved up to heavyweight where the guys are significantly less skilled. And because of that, he can exploit their ground game. And because he's so strong, he's able to get them down. The question is, will he be able to get and keep Curtis Blaydes down enough to take his back or to submit him? I don't know, man. If Blaydes can keep it on the feet, it's definitely his fight to lose at that point. Like even then, I think Almeida, although he's not uber polished on the feet, he still possesses power, and I think he can still hurt Blaydes. The thing is that Almeida is uber predictable. He throws a front lead kick, right? Just a front teep, not intended to hurt you, not even intended to land, and then he automatically shoots for a double. I'm gonna go with Blaydes here. I think he actually knocks him out. I'm gonna say in like round number two or one or two. I think. I don't think this is gonna go the distance. I think truly because Almeida is so predictable with those takedowns, Blaydes is gonna be able to keep it on the feet. The only issue is that if Blaydes finds a way to lose, which he's very notorious to do, so I'll go with Blaydes, but I'm not planning on betting this one. Now we got a real fight here. We've got Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. Quite possibly, like if Peter Yan were to win this fight, it could put him in title contention. And I know it sounds stupid, but he's only lost to the elite. He's lost to the champion, the former champion, the champion, and the number one contender. There's a lot of shit you can use with that. Like, well, he lost a close decision to Aljamain Sterling, no longer the champ. He also lost a very close split decision to Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili. That was just he lost to the number one contender. So you can erase at least two of those losses. And if he gets a spectacular win against Song Yadong, you can put him right in there. So for sure, there's a path for Peter Yan to get right back into the title picture. If Song Yadong wins this one, no doubt he gets next, essentially. Depending on if, say, Merab gets hurt, you can put him in there with Sean O'Malley or Chito Vera. So this is a very important fight. It's just how are we going to attack this fight, right? Minus 140 for Peter Yan, come back on Song Yadong is plus 120. So automatically there's a lot of, good looking line here. Plus 120 on Song Yadong, a guy who's been more active. I think he proved that he can go 5 rounds in his last fight. The guy is solid. Like I've been more and more impressed by Song Yadong and Peter Yan. The issue with him is that like he's got a bit of the, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but let's just go with that imposter syndrome. Like he was a champion and now people are counting him out. But the guy's absolutely fantastic. It's just he's had those weird matchups where he just lost them. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's still uber dangerous. The only issue that I see here is that it's a 3-round fight, and Peter Yan is kind of known to kind of take off rounds. That's his main thing. Will he be able to get over that? I'm not sure. Realistically, I do think this fight will go to a decision. I don't know if Song Yadong is going to be able to knock out Peter Yan. Peter Yan does keep his hands up pretty tight and clean. Great boxing. I think it's going to be a fun fight that I think Song Yadong is going to mix in takedowns and edge it out. I think I'm going to go with Song Yadong by decision. Not to say I'm counting out Peter Yan. Like pick-wise, it's up in the air for me. But if I'm going to bet, I have to go with the underdog here. I think the guy that's been more active, the younger guy, to me, say what you want. So Song Yadong's been like 26 for like the last 7 years, but like I honestly think he's still like 23. So I'm going to go with the much younger guy in Song Yadong. Not uber convicted. I haven't bet him yet, but depending on like the line when the prop comes out for a decision, I might actually take Song Yadong by decision or just money line. Moving on, we've got the co-main event. Is it the co-main? No, not quite yet. Should be the co-main event. We've got Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Now, Jack Della minus 125 and Gilbert Burns plus 105. So we've got a 37-year-old guy, 27-year-old guy. It's a 10-year age difference. Jack has ballooned up to like minus 170 at this point, and partly to do by me because I bet him. I bet him at minus 125 on my final leg for the parlay, and I bet him at minus 140. I honestly thought there was going to be some money coming in on Burns because narrative is, Jack can strike and all, but like he's been putting arm triangles a lot, and Like, he's been put in arm triangles in 3 of his however many UFC fights he's been in, right? He got put in it by Fiziev, by Anglusa, which was in the Contender Series, uh, Basil Hafez, which the Basil Hafez fight is what solidified me as, like, Jack's going to whip Gilbert's ass. Jack can box. Jack can box like a motherfucker. Jack has it's literally like he's harnessing the entire country of Mexico's boxing into him, like Dragon Ball Z, like the spirit bomb. Like, he's just getting it all, and he's just like letting those hands go. His combinations are ridiculously good, and it's crazy to think. Like, I'm gonna rant real quick, but the Basil Hafez fight, if you were to say, "Yo, Basil Hafez won that one because he controlled the fight more," which that was a leading narrative at that time, right? And I'm like, no. Jack thoroughly whipped his ass in round number 3 for damn sure, and did way more damage in round number 2. Basil Habibi just kind of held him down for dear life. He had a couple of exchanges there, but the better of the exchanges came from Jack. And the issue with Jack at that point was he was jumping for guillotine because he thought, yo, this guy's exhausted because I punched him in the gut so hard that I saw life leave his body. I can choke him out. Easy path to victory because he's not going down. And that was a dumb mistake, and he kept going for it. And Basil was just so strong, a little too EPO-y because he's training up in where was he training? He's training up in like Colorado. I don't want to get into that, but let's just say a certain guy trains there, known as the CEO of EPO. But he was able to like just roll over to the other side, stay safe, Basil that is, and Jack was kind of dumb there. And it wasn't that he was making lapse of judgment. He just thought he could get it. Third round comes out. His coaches were like, if you want to lose this fight, go for another fucking guillotine. And he didn't go for it again. So I do think that Jack's got the power. He's got the youth. He's got the boxing. And truly, the biggest issue with Gilbert is taking the jab. Jack has a nasty set of skills on the feet. He's got a nasty quick jab. He's got ridiculous combinations. He can set up his hands better than a lot of people in the UFC. Like, I gush over the guy's boxing. When he lets it rip, it's ridiculous. And to me, I think Gilbert, he is hitting that age. He does have a clear path to victory of taking Jack down, but Jack's takedown defense is pretty damn good. And the guy that was able to kind of manhandle him on the ground was Basil Hafez early. And that guy's a giant, roided up freak. I don't think Gilbert's going to have that kind of success. He might be able to get him down, but I think Jack's got the ability to get back up. I think Jack's got the ability to survive. He just needs to mind his P's and Q's, and he gets the win. I think he sets up a punch that Gilbert doesn't see coming. I could even see the first light jab that he lands on Gilbert, rocking him, and then Jack finishes him up quick. So I'm going to go with Jack by knockout. I'm going to say in the first round, because to me, this is the quickest path to victory for Jack to get to the title. You knock out Burns, you skip over Bilal Muhammad, and you fight Leon, and you beat Leon, and we got Jack Della, the first welterweight Mexican champ. I'm claiming him. So moving on, we've got Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. I've been going back and forth with this one because minus 130 for Holland, come back on Page, plus 110. I like Page. I like Page in this matchup for a couple reasons. Not to say that I'm going to pick him, not to say I'm going to bet him, but I'm considering it. The reason being is that he's uber athletic. He's a much better striker, more elusive, really matching the height and range and athleticism of Kevin Holland. He is older than Kevin, but Kevin, to me, as much as I love Kevin, I really love Kevin, but Kevin has an issue with fighting himself. He could have made a fight out of the Jack Della fight. He could have made it a lot closer. You might be saying like, yo, I thought he beat Jack Della. He did not beat Jack Della. He lost to Jack Della every single round, right? I don't even know how you would score that as a split. He just stood there and Jack was unleashing combinations. And granted, yeah, Jack made it closer himself because he wasn't as uber and aggressive, but I just think that Kevin finds a way to lose to himself. Like, he just doesn't do enough. He refuses to take fights to the ground. Like last time he fought a karate guy, I know this might be like a narrative going around, was Wonder Boy. And with Wonder Boy, like, he took him down. He couldn't do shit. And Michael, to me, I think he has gotten better at stuffing takedowns. He's more of a knockout threat than Kevin. Michael to me is kind of a chinny dude, but I just think that his elusiveness is going to give Kevin Holland a lot of trouble. He's going to be throwing a lot of kicks from the outside. Kevin just going to be like smiling at him and trying to like dap him up. This is a fight that Kevin can definitely win if he decides to offensively wrestle here. And I don't know if he's that kind of a fighter. I think he does get in his own head a bit. He has more success on the feet. He's let people down in the past. And up until the dude starts actively taking fights to the ground, actively engaging in a clinch, trying to take the back, I can't trust him to win. I'm going to take Michael Venom Page. I'm going to say by a decision here. It's going to be a lot of trouble if you bet Michael because, say, if he doesn't finish Kevin with like a barrage of strikes or something, which I think he can, Kevin Holland, who's desperate for a knockout, is very capable of getting it. And that's what does scare me here, that if he does go after Michael Page, he's going to have to be very careful because, again, the chin of Michael Page. But I do think the UFC knows what they're doing here. I think they know that Kevin's that kind of guy that is a big enough name that won't try to wrestle, that will try to test his ego against Michael Page, who on the feet, it's really a night and day comparison here. So I'm going to go with Michael Page with his Mayate Karate to win against Kevin Holland's Karate. Co-main event, we've got Dustin Poirier versus Benoit St Denis, -175 for the God of War. The diamond comes back +145. Y'all really going to make me bet Dustin Poirier here. And very quickly, I like Benoit. I've been a fan of his for the first time he laid his feet on the octagon out in Yas Island in Fight Island, where he got his ass beat. I thought he could truly thought he could beat Zaleski, but Zaleski put a ass whooping on him. And he is one of the few guys that I root for, that I want to win, but I actively keep betting against him because truly, hand to God, I don't see him being championship material. And I thought that about another guy who is a current UFC champion, which was Dricus du Plessis. So I could be way off on this guy, but he's fighting Dustin Poirier, a guy I don't like. I truly don't like Dustin Poirier. I count him out every single time. I want to see him get knocked out. But in this fight, I think this could be a bit of a very quick rise up for Benoit St Denis, considering this is a 5-round fight. I do think he gasses out, but he's so good at pushing through that fatigue that I can respect that. Do I want him to win? Yeah, for sure. I want him to knock out Dustin Poirier. It's just that there's a lot of openings there where Poirier can take advantage. Poirier does have better boxing. Benoit St Denis' boxing isn't great. His striking itself isn't all that great. He does have a beautiful left body kick, but it does diminish over time, right? And to me, I think Dustin, he's been blood and guts, life and death kind of wars before with up and coming guys like, at the time, Dan Hooker. And now he's fighting a guy who truly, I think, in an exchange, he leaves himself super exposed, that I need to see that cleaned up a bit before I can say, yeah, he's definitively going to win here. Like a Leroy Duncan kind of thing. Like, he's not going to lose this fight. I do think Benoit can lose this fight. I think he can get knocked out. I think he can get hurt, submitted. I think there's a chance Dustin Poirier can finally jump for guillotine and get it this time. It's just that I don't know, man. I feel conflicted here because I cannot pick Dustin. Like, every time I pick against Benoit St Denis, he ends up winning. So I'm going to do it again here. I'm going to try to reverse fluke it. I'm going to take Dustin Poirier to win this one by a actual knockout in the third. I'm going to say fourth round. I think Benoit does have that grueling pace, that grueling cardio. It's just, again, like in those pocket exchanges, if it does get to that point in the fourth round, I think that's when Dustin's going to take over, and he does pack a punch, and he is cleaner on the feet. It's just with Dustin, pressure does break him, which is funny because like pressure makes diamonds, but also this kind of pressure breaks this diamond. And I think he can get submitted here by Benoit St Denis, who I don't think is the much better grappler. It's just that pressure will get after him. He'll wear on him, and then Dustin does find a way to he finds a way to take the L. But yeah, I'll go with Poirier round number 4. depending on what the line is, if he gets pretty damn close to plus 200, I might take a shot on Poirier. Now we got the main event of the evening. To me, minus 245 for O'Malley, come back on Cheeto Vera, plus 200. For me, Cheeto taking him at this line, not really worth it. He's going to lose rounds. He's going to lose at least 2 to 3 rounds because he's known to do that. He drops the first early rounds, starts fighting in the third. But yeah, plus 200 at this very moment, not really worth it for me. This fight to me seems like one of the easier ones to predict. I am going to take O'Malley by a decision. Like, here's the shit about O'Malley. Like, there's a multitude of ways he can fight this fight. He can stay on the outside, throw kicks, stay safe, mix in some grappling just to kind of throw off Cheeto Vera. Just avoid the dog that is Vera, because when Cheeto goes after you, it's like the dude is absolutely vicious, right? This is, funny enough, a very easy fight for Vera to win, but he's going to have to take a lot of ass whooping early. It's just that, can he survive that ass whooping? He's never been truly, really hurt in the UFC, never even bled. But I think his time is coming where there's going to be a shot that hurts him. And I think that Sean obviously is that kind of guy. He does have that power, that precision. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, though. So I am picking Sean O'Malley to win this fight. I think that the way this goes is that Sean can dictate truly the pace of the fight. He can choose if it stays on the outside and stays boring. He can choose if he wants to leap in and try to hurt Marlon with the boxing. He can choose to take it to the ground. Marlon can do that too, but he's not really known to do that himself. With Marlon kind of taking his sweet time, also poses a bit of an issue here where I don't feel comfortable betting him now. Like, if I see the tides turning, say, minus plus fucking 900 on Cheeto, and it's entering the third round, like, I'll just spam it right there. At that point, at least I know that Cheeto's going to wake up and start fighting. He's going to be a bit more aggressive. Yeah, but I do think that Sean, say what you want about the guy, like, I do think he's kind of a smart fighter. Like, he understands, like, yo, this guy's dangerous. This guy can do this to me. He can do that to me. I have to make sure I don't bust like a Diaz on him where you're beating his ass to the point that you get tired. I think he even said that in an interview. Like, I cannot beat his ass until I get tired. And then he beats my ass like a Nate Diaz or a Nick Diaz. So I think he's smart enough to know that he has to put on a performance here, not a fight. He has to perform his best. And I think if he does that, if he stays composed, he can pick apart Cheeto and just comfortably win a decision. There's going to be some issues there at a certain point where Marlon's going to come after you. But I think that Sean has proved that he's kind of over those hiccups, right? Like, obviously the leg kicks are there for Cheeto. Shit, if it would be so funny if Cheeto kicks him again and he has drop foot again. That'd be really fucking funny. But I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Sean is definitely matured over the years. He's 29 now. He's just going to be too big, too quick, too fast. And I think, honestly, I hate to say it, too smart for Cheeto this time around. So I'm going to go with O'Malley by decision here. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, Johnny TigerBomb. I will see you. Shit, I don't even know what next week is. I'll see you next week.